Good evening, everybody. We are back to Late Night on Campus, and we are live Friday, June 5th, 2017. I'm the big man on campus, your host, joined by regular co-host, Peter Loshak. Peter, how you doing today?
Doing all right. Finally, I had a kind of a weird week. I was red hot on Monday, Tuesday, and the afternoon games on Wednesday. And then I was ice cold the night games on Wednesday and Thursday. I got completely shut out. And then Friday, kind of up and down. But thankfully, my clear, obvious, low-hanging fruit of the day today was if anyone watched the morning show, it was the Miami Marlins team total over 4. That one cashed easily and early. So I'm happy about that. I had a big winner personally on that one. And I got Miami -1.5 in the contest also at SBR. So, overall the week winds up being roughly slightly positive, which I guess is all you can hope for in any weekend. I also promised on the morning show today that I would tweet out my MLB picks for Saturday and Sunday, so I'll do that as well for the guy who requested it.
I heard that, and we'll look forward to having you on doing that. So make sure you, if you don't know where Peter is on Twitter, follow him at P Loshak, Loshak. He'll be tweeting those out all week. Peter, a good kind of avenue into the contest. You can still enter the contest if you're out there. It's all as long as you're making the allotted amount of picks, 60 picks in a month, which you could probably do that in a week. I mean, or 4 days probably if you really bet every game. I actually bet every game tonight on the contest, Peter.
Really, but you're gonna run out of picks because there's a maximum of 90. So if you keep doing that, you'll run out of picks.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I just kind of today we do them all in the show anyway, so it's just like fuck it. I'll just I'll pick them all today. But you can join the contest. All you got to do, go to sbrcontest.com. You click on the MLB June Bet Points contest. If you're out there, you may be having trouble. Get in touch with me. I'll let you know how to get into it. I knew there's some people were having a little trouble finding it, but it's very easy. Just head on over to sbrcontest.com. But Peter, obviously Friday, big card, full card, lot to do. We will discuss a little bit later game 2 of the NBA Finals. We'll get kind of Peter's quick prediction. I'll give out something. But MLB obviously at full front right now. Peter, let's jump in to see what happened today. See where you had your money, where I had my money, and where the listeners had their money. Cubs get the job done, Peter, late against the Cardinals. Cards jump out of a 2-0 lead. Kind of a pitcher's duel here. Not a lot of hits, only 9 hits combined, but go-ahead fly from Jason Hayward late in the game. Cubs kind of get back on the track again. After getting swept on the road at San Diego, they come back home. And for the record, Wrigley Field has seemed like a nice place for them lately, but they go home and get the monkey off their back, luckily.
Yeah, I mean, the Cubs are a weird team this year. They definitely, they actually, their problems are kind of fundamental. It's not that they've gotten unlucky. They do project to be, quite a bit better than they've been up till now this year, but they're nowhere close to what they did last year. Last year, they were like a historically great defensive team, and this year they're just, a reasonably average defensive team. Schwarber's having some serious issues at the plate, Addison Russell. So I think that the Cubs, it's they're just a team that's easily overvalued, and especially, coming off this season that they're coming off of, they should improve going forward. So they're probably not going to be as overvalued, as terrible of a bet as they've been so far. As of right now, for today's game, I think they were actually the 3rd worst in all of baseball in terms of ROI. So they shouldn't be that bad going forward. But they're not, I don't think they're ever going to be anywhere close to what they were last year. It was a little bit of last year was kind of like everything went right for them and broke well for them. And this year, they're probably going to start to have some breaks fall their way going forward. But I don't see them regaining their form from last year at all.
Yeah, I mean, you look at last year, Peter. I mean, Arrieta pitched out of his mind. Hamill pitched very well. Hendricks had a career year. Lackey and Lester were very good as well. Their bullpen was great. They added a Chapman late to kind of fortify that. Their lineup was fantastic. And I want to shout out my co-host, Donnie Wrightsett, who pointed out Dexter Fowler, losing him. That kind of messed up kind of the cohesiveness of this lineup. But, yeah.
Not only that, but if you remember last year when he got injured, that was the same period of time when the Cubs started to struggle. And a lot of times those table setters can really affect the entire lineup, the entire offense. It's not just that they lost Fowler and now suck this year. Last year when he was injured, and I remember we were covering that last year, they started to really struggle. And when he came back, they picked it up again. So, yeah, I think that was a big loss for them for sure. But that was not the only thing. There's sort of a lot of things. Everything, the stars aligned for them last year. And then this year, the stars are definitely not aligning. So, yeah, sure. But it's definitely for real, their struggles. They haven't just gotten unlucky this year at all.
Yeah, amen. This one just ended recently, and, look, I don't really know what else to say about the Phillies. I mean, look, you wonder, someone hit me up today and said, why are the Phillies favorite in this game? And I couldn't really answer that question, Peter. I was kind of scratching my head. I mean, you look at Blatch, and this is where, for me, like ERA, I'm not a big sabermetric. I've made that clear, but ERA is kind of skewed in a way. When you look at a guy like Blatch's ERA, like 2 starts on the road. One was horrible. It was his worst start of the year. Then he had a really good start, but most of his success has come at home. But I mean, Peter, against the Phillies, does it really matter what his ERA is? This team is just, I don't know what else to say. Can you explain anything? Can you give us? Can you? I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what else to say about the Phillies.
I mean, they're horrific. Who was their last series again? Just refresh your mind. It's not their last series where they got absolutely blown out every game. The Marlins, right. And so I was all over them. I was all over Miami in that series, and I asked Drew Martin and I think a bunch of other people what to expect from Philly in their upcoming series, and I saw it was at home against San Francisco, and you had to figure if there was a spot where, the Phillies were actually going to maybe have some value, it would be against San Francisco, because still, if you look at their overall year-long numbers, right, the Phillies, they're still only down about 10% ROI at home, and San Francisco's been one of the worst teams in terms of ROI on the road. So now they're going across country. But this reminds me of the game where it was that game against Edinson Volquez in Miami. It was like a -150 favorite, and you were thinking, if there's any game in this series where win. Philly might actually not be a terrible bet, it's in the Volquez game, and even that game they didn't have a chance of winning. And here they are against the San Francisco, and I was wondering how to play this one. I kind of laid off it. But absolutely blown the F out by the Giants. So I don't know exactly how bad this team is.
There was a guy that, and I forgive me for remembering, it was a while ago in one of the chat boxes. It was right at the beginning of the year. There was a guy that came on and said that the Phillies wouldn't win 60 games. And I thought to myself, wow, that's just ridiculous. I mean, of course they're going to win 60 games. But, I mean, you look at their record. I mean, at 17, it's kind of like the Sixers in a way where it's like for a long time you're looking at their schedule and saying, like, who can they actually beat? I mean, you even look at they're going to have to get a really good situation to even win a couple in a row. Tomorrow you look at Johnny Cueto against Ben Lively, who's making his debut. A lot of people want Ben Lively up, and they're going to get their chance tomorrow. He's been very good in AAA. He was their pitcher of the year last year. Again, I could see a situation here where he'll pitch well just because, this is a good team to face, the Giants, if you're Ben Lively, and you wonder where Johnny Cueto will be. I mean, he's had a kind of a tough year, and he hasn't had good numbers in his career against the Phillies. Now, keep that in mind, Peter. That was against a lot better Phillies teams, but, I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is no situation in hell I'm betting the Phillies. I don't care who's pitching or who they're pitching against. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, regarding the guy who said they wouldn't win 60 games, you actually made a great point that they do have a bunch of minor leaguers who are really playing great. Some of those guys might get brought up. I see those minor leaguers mentioned a lot of times in people analyzing, top 5, top 10 prospects or whatever. So when those guys get brought up, it might change radically. But yeah, Lively is one of those guys. He pitched well in the minors. Cueto is having reports of, some blister injuries. So you got to think maybe if there's a spot to try to play on the Phillies, maybe it is tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at their upcoming series at Atlanta. Atlanta has no great shakes, but I guess you got to assume that Atlanta is going to be the play in that series, that they're going to have value, and they go on the road against St. Louis. Again, St. Louis is not some kind of overpowering team, but if Philly is really as bad as they've looked in the past, 25 or 30 games, then, they might be looking at, getting swept or at least losing 3 games in Atlanta, getting swept at St. Louis. Then they have a 2-2 home and home series against Boston. Then they're going to be at home against Arizona. So it does feel like, at least for the next 2 weeks or so, just blindly betting against Philly will continue to be profitable.
Yeah, and they're going to be just a gift that keeps on giving. You also look at one other one, a very low-scoring game down in Baltimore tonight. Alec Asher, Peter, gets the win. And look, I said today on the early show, I'm not a big Rick Porcello fan. I mean, he's just a guy with a seemingly high whip every time he pitches. He always has base runners on. He wasn't terrible tonight, but again, we're continuing to see, Peter. The Boston Red Sox have good numbers as far as from a hitting perspective, but they don't have a ton of power. The power seems not there. Obviously, David Ortiz retires, and that was a big loss. But again, this is an Alec Asher's a guy that came over in the Cliff Lee trade or the Cole Hamels trade. I'm sorry, and he was really kind of a reliever. I mean, this is a glorified reliever. Boston had the opportunity tonight with Porcello and them to maybe right the ship, but they continue to be inconsistent, Peter. I know they're right around 500, but I guess a nice win for the Orioles. They do these kind of games at home, but they weren't particularly good offensively, and they still get the job done. What's up with the Red Sox?
I mean, Boston is just, they're a fine team. They're a decent team. They're a team that, I would certainly be willing to bet on in spots. For example, in their 4-game series in mid-June against Philadelphia, they're certainly good enough to make me want to bet to jump all over them against Philly. But you're right; they don't have the kind of lineup that makes you want to bet them as a road favorite. This game, I actually hit the under pretty big, and I nailed that one. I also initially bet Baltimore as a home dog, and then I got scared off of it, and then I took the whole thing back, covering my bet with Boston. That one cashed, and I'm feeling the same way about tomorrow. You got Price against Bundy. Both those guys a little bit, iffy. Tomorrow is a game where I might be looking at a shot with the over. But once again, Baltimore as a home dog, I think has some value. As we know, Baltimore this year has been one of the best teams at home in terms of ROI, and is that fluky or not? Probably a little bit fluky, a little bit something legitimate. But again, you're absolutely right. At home as an underdog against Boston, I'm taking Baltimore right now because, as imperfect a team as Baltimore might be, and as inflated as their home record so far has been this year, I think that it's the same way with Boston. They're just an imperfect team, and shouldn't be a road favorite at Baltimore in this series.
Plus, it does help that they're 19-8 in Camden Yards and have been very good over the years there. So, Peter needs a pimp fur coat to go along with those shades.
Well, I'm thinking about going shopping tomorrow, getting some shades. The problem is when I go out I get whenever I go to buy like sunglasses or something, you walk into those places, there's like 500 pairs of sunglasses, and they all look almost exactly the same. Like, screw this. I'm not buying any pairs. I'm going to sit here trying to, I can't tell which one. They all look the goddamn same. But yeah, I'm thinking about going shopping in downtown San Jose tomorrow to see what I can find to spruce up my look, because I want to look the best I can be for football season, because when football season starts, that's when the roller coaster. The 8-month roller coaster starts in August, and it doesn't end until March Madness. I don't have time to, leisurely stroll around town, going shopping, looking for, the shades and, jackets and stuff like that. So I'm preparing now to look as good as I can for football season, because as you know, if you want to be a winner, you got to look like a winner. And right now I don't quite look like as much of a winner as I'd like to.
Yeah, no, I got to do that myself, and I'm doing that slowly but surely. But Peter, I actually pointed out to you, I've looked at some of our old videos, like some of the videos you did with me and some other people, and I remember you had that look where you had like the buzzed hair, the glasses, no mustache. That was all business. I liked it.
Yeah, and I got to get some, what's the word? Some accessories to go with that look, and to to hone up my facial expressions, because it's how you look is not just about your hair and your clothes, it's also about how you hold your face. Like I can hold my face in lots of different ways for various effects. Like sometimes I go like that. I'll do stuff looks like that, and I want to look like a real guy who's on the ball, a winner for football season. So I got to get everything crisp and tight. And I'm going to start finalizing my final football season look soon, preparing my facial expressions in the mirror for a couple weeks before football season starts, and I'll be ready to go by late August, baby. Believe that.
We're ready. Big man, are you calm now? Are you relaxed today? Yeah, dude, I wasn't not calm. I was just laughing at a hater, dude. I mean, what do you want from me? Walk off in the Queen City, of course. Atlanta blows another one, and I actually picked them in the contest today. What a surprise! Their bullpen blows it, and of course, Fulton Avits pitch is absolutely fantastic. And what do you know? The fucking bullpen blows it. Just typical, typical Atlanta Braves baseball. Atlanta Barves baseball, we can call them. Just what do you say about this one, Peter?
I don't know. That was another one. So I guess I broke even because that was another one that I bet Atlanta on the opening line, and then I got spooked and pulled that one as well. So I guess I broke even on my no balls chicken out plays at the last minute. Yeah, I mean Fulton Avich pitching well is not a surprise at all. Bronson Arroyo pitching well is very much a surprise. Atlanta almost got to him. I'm still going to be looking to basically auto fade Bronson Arroyo going forward. The fact that he pitched well here means that he'll probably get another start or 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever, how long they keep him in there. And I think that's okay because I think fading him every start, there'll be a couple of times where it rains on Bronson Arroyo Day and you don't cash like today. But there's going to be more often than not days where you're going to cash really nicely fading Bronson Arroyo. So I'm fine with him throwing a good start today. It means he'll be around a little bit longer than if he hadn't, and I'm looking forward to fading him in the future, definitely.
Atlanta had 12 hits and 2 runs.
Yeah, sure.
7-5 up in Toronto. The Yankees have built a comeback here, but it seems like every time they score runs, bullpen gives one right back, and that's been the growing theme tonight. I mean, Michael Pineda was not good at all. Michael Pineda continues to have issues, not only in the first inning, but with 2 outs. That has been an issue in his career, and it seems to be continuing. He's been strong for most of the year, but this is the issue with Michael Pineda. You see these stretches where he looks great and everything, and then he comes in and looks poor. So it'll be interesting to see about him in his next start. Is he kind of past, maybe 4 or 5 bad games in a row and just kind of limits it to 1 or 2. That's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, Peter, I mean, look, they mounted a nice comeback. The offense is kind of, for the most part in the late innings doing what they can. But in the first inning, you have a leadoff triple. You get nothing out of it. You then have the bases loaded with 1 out and don't get anything out of it. It's coming back to haunt the Yankees here, and they are coming up a little bit short here, I'm going to think here.
Yeah, I mean, your point about Pineda is right. In general, I still feel like I'm a little bit high on this game. I had a gut feel, not a statistical reason, but a gut feel that he was going to have an off start here. I was looking to fade Liriano as well, and I'm definitely looking to continue to fade him going forward. I think Pineda, I'm going to look into it a little bit more, obviously, but my first thoughts on this is that his next few starts are going to be okay. He's going to be at home against Boston, then probably on the road against the Angels, and then either on the road against Oakland or at home against the Angels after that. All 3 of those should be relatively, pain-free assignments, and I think his next 3 starts roughly should be pretty decent. After that, who knows? And definitely in the later summer months, in the real dog days of summer, he might start to get crushed and hit really hard. But as far as his next few starts are concerned, I think he's going to be okay. And I think probably the Yankees are going to be a good bet in those games.
Yeah, I will admit I have the Yankees tonight. It is my only premium play. And look, I mean, I thought it was a really good spot. I mean, Pineda, I know he's had some trouble on the road, but this Yankees group is always going to be there to kind of rescue them. And, one big thing for me tonight was Liriano, who's had major problems, major control problems. Russell Martin wasn't catching for him tonight, which I thought coming off the DL, that might have been a little bit of a problem for Liriano. And, look, I like the price. It made sense to me. But, again, we're going to need kind of a miracle here in the top of the 9th to have a shot here. Pittsburgh and New York, crazy game here. 12-7 Pittsburgh in the top of the 9th. I don't even know where to start here. A ton of runs. It's kind of going, first couple innings are kind of a pitcher's duel. And then, Garrett Cole or Matt Harvey gives up 3. And then or Garrett Cole gives up 3. Then the Mets score 5 off a grand slam. Then 7 from the Pirates. Just a wild game up in New York. But, Peter, is that surprising? I mean, I think like 70% of the Mets games have gone over this year. So I don't think that's surprising to people.
That is kind of weird and wacky, and there was some late, strong line movement to the over on this one as well. The line, I saw it shooting up very close to a first pitch. This is the 3rd straight bad start in a row for Garrett Cole. I don't know if you are aware of that, but his last 2 starts before this one were really bad, and I was thinking if there was going to be a start where he was going to settle down, it would be here, and obviously we saw what happened. So I don't know whether he's going to get sent to the DL or sent down to the minors or given a little bit of a break or something, but Cole is really struggling, and his next start is looking like it's going to be at home against Miami, and that might be a tough assignment. And then after that, he's got a home start against looking like it's going to be either Colorado or the Cubs, and then he might have a road start at Milwaukee. So I don't know what's going to happen with Cole, how many more starts he's going to have, if he's got some injury issue or something. But he was definitely struggling in his last 2 starts, and he struggled even more tonight. And I think this is for real, and I think he might be a good short-term auto fade, at least for the next 2 or 3 starts. We'll see. But yeah, he is not doing well, and that is for real, I think.
Especially with that team behind him.
Yeah.
Texas and Houston, long rain delay in this one. This one was supposed to go off at 8 o'clock. 2 hours and 20 minutes later, we were just starting in the top of the first. Correa up, 1 man on, 2 outs. Yu Darvish against Dallas Keuchel. Should be a good one, though, at Globe Life Park. I was a little concerned about this line, Peter. I definitely liked Houston. I think a lot of people liked Houston, but the concern was the line was going down all day. Like, it kind of hung around 120. It was down to like 117. I didn't really like the movement in it, so I, as far as a personal bet, didn't bet it. But we'll see what happens here. Houston is obviously on fire right now, but it just didn't make a lot of sense to me the way the line was moving with how many people were on Houston. It just didn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, I mentioned this series with Drew Martin, and I'm definitely liking Houston in this series, but I mentioned not tonight. I didn't bet Texas tonight. I did take a shot with the under, which now with the rain delay might be thrown out of whack a little bit. I did take a shot with the under, and I also took a small shot with Houston on the second half, but definitely, I would not take Houston here on the full game. Tomorrow, though, is an interesting one with McCullers against Cashner. And I mentioned, from in my Thursday show with Drew Martin that I was looking to fade Cashner. I think I'm more going to be looking to fade him on with the Houston team total over than with Houston on the -1 line. It is a little bit of a high spread there, a high line there. The 1.5 line is about -110. The money line on the game is about -165. So that works out to like a -135-ish kind of line for Houston -1. I'm definitely liking Houston tomorrow. Tonight, I definitely thought it was. Yu Darvish is the real deal. Even when he walks guys, he tends not to give up too many runs. So I think Houston late might have some value here. Houston on the second half, and I also took a shot with the under. That's why I played this one. No way would I have taken Houston though on the full game line here.
Yeah, just a weird feeling about it. Dodgers are really struggling tonight. And look, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to bet the Dodgers every game. That's just what I do in baseball. If they lose, they lose. If they don't, they don't. Or if they win, they win. If they lose, they lose. I'm not going to really – again, they're not playing well tonight. They didn't play well yesterday either. They only scored 1 run in their last 2 games coming into tonight. They're also being shut out tonight, which – look, this is going to happen, Peter. I mean, unfortunately, baseball is a long season. You're not going to hit well every year. It's funny. I was listening to Barstool Radio today on Sirius, and some guy called in, and I'm not sure if he was serious or not, but he asked one of the hosts. He said, "Will a baseball team ever go 162-0?" And which it was. I think he was just trying to be funny and all, but I mean, people actually out to think that teams are going to do things like that. I mean, it's amazing what some of these people think these guys are just going to hit every single time they're up. You're going to go through these stretches where you don't hit, you don't score runs, but you got to keep pressing on. The Dodgers are going to make money over the course of the year. If you took Milwaukee, I know there's a couple people out there that did. Good call. It's looking good so far.
Well, I can tell you what I did on this game, but I know you are not going to believe me, and the viewers are not going to believe me. So I'd rather not even get into it.
No, we want to hear it. Go ahead.
You want me to tell you? You won't believe me.
Yes, I believe.
I bet Milwaukee. I did bet Milwaukee.
Good.
I bet Milwaukee. I didn't mention it and only because it was such a huge line. I got like plus 203 or something. I didn't mention it on the morning show because I had to look into it a little bit more. But yeah, I think the Dodgers. I mean, Kershaw does have. Kershaw's awesome, right? But we do know that he has some maybe lingering back issues that might be there. Nelson on the other side, is capable of having a good start at any time, as we saw here, and it was just too big of a favorite line. And I'm feeling the same way about tomorrow. Rich Hill against Garza. Garza is pretty much, borderline ass.
Yeah, but Peter, this wasn't Kershaw's fault. I mean, they can't hit tonight.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, whether it was Kershaw's fault or whether it was a lineup's fault, it was just too big of a line for Milwaukee. If it had been
Right.
plus 160, I wouldn't have taken it, I'm sure. But when I started to see plus 200, I had to pull the trigger on it, and I did. And I also took a shot with the under. And I'll tell you, tomorrow I'm after a little bit of research, but I hit on the overnight. I hit the over 8.5. I definitely am liking that one. And I'm also going to be on Milwaukee, I think, tomorrow as a home underdog once again at about plus 140. Rich Hill is, he had an unbelievable run to a career resurgence, but I think he's getting a little bit on in years. He's having blister issues with his vicious curveball. It's affecting his mechanics, I think. He supposedly made a mechanical adjustment in his last start that was good, but just going forward, I'm not a buyer on Hill. So, if it was, plus 115, I probably wouldn't take it. But a plus 140, I took Milwaukee tomorrow, and also a shot with the over at 8.5.
Amazing stuff. Milwaukee strikes out 14 times, still has a lead. Pretty amazing. They do strike out a lot. They're third worst in the major leagues in strikeouts per game from the batting standpoint. Kansas City and Cleveland, low scoring game here. I did actually take the under in this game, so I'm feeling decent so far.
Yeah.
Under 9 and a half, I believe, was the play, or 9. I got to look. But hey, look, Peter. I mean, Josh Tomlin was, for the record, pretty good tonight. He gives up 3 runs, not terrible. Goes 7 1/3 for him, which is pretty good. I mean, he is one of those guys, though, Peter. If you look at it, and why I am kind of coming around on him a little bit. He does give up a lot of home runs, but he's not. He's not like a. He's not like a Jared Weaver, I guess you could say. I guess I was kind of feeling like he was going that way, kind of like losing velocity, and he has lost velocity. But his issues home runs. Other than that, I mean, he doesn't really walk anyone. He doesn't have overpowering stuff, but
that's what I was going to say. His big positive, peripheral is that he walks almost no one, and walks actually have a synergistic effect. Like the more people you walk, the more harmful walks are. And so for someone like Tomlin, who walks very few people, even those few walks are relatively less harmful than they are with other guys. So yeah, he really turned it around recently. I do expect him at some point this year to start getting hit again, and when that happens, he'll probably start getting crushed. There will probably be some midsummer games where betting against him on the other team's team total overs will be a great bet. But I had the under 2 in that one. I also had Cleveland on the second half, so that one's looking like a loss. But these KC unders, and especially KC unders at home, are great since Cleveland has a great bullpen in general. So I was very surprised the line actually got bet up when it went to 9.5. I jumped all over that one. I had freaking Cleveland on the second half. But 9 was an obvious value play there, and nice call on that one. And Tomlin, yes, again, I think he's a guy with high volatility, which can be a good thing to bet into. It means that if you want to bet on him or against him, take run lines. And when he starts to get hit later on in the summer, definitely I'm going to probably be all over a team total overs against him. As of right now, situations like these against relatively weak lineups at this point in the year, definitely you can expect strong starts from him for sure.
Yeah, I in our brown table, we have a little segment where we talk about pitches to fade, and like on the 3rd or 4th week, like he was just a mess. I mean, he just couldn't get anyone out, and at that point, he was kind of a pitcher to fade on my list. But luckily, that show goes week to week. I mean, things change. He's turned it around, and and that's one thing about Cleveland that I am kind of feeling decent about. I mean, Bauer's pitched pretty well lately. Tomlin's pitched pretty well lately. Kluber was fantastic yesterday coming off the DL. He's probably going to pitch well lately. Carrasco's been very good. So, their pitching's going to be fine. It's just, can they start to hit on a regular basis is the big question. I mean, other than Brantley and Lindor and maybe Jose Ramirez, this lineup isn't very good. They're going to have to find they're going to have to plug some holes in this lineup. But, I think they're going to be fine. They'll make the playoffs. They'll run away with this division and be fine. Washington takes a 1-0 lead. Andrew Triggs, to no one's surprise, gives up a home run. I hate Andrew Triggs, by the way, Peter. I'm not just saying that to say it. Donnie Wrightside loves Andrew Triggs, but I think he's just a guy that has had a great month and a half of baseball. Triggs got up a home run to Michael Taylor, 1-0 Nats in the top of the second. Minnesota, Peter, they're on top 2-0 at Angels. I have the over in that game. Peter, I have to ask you, and it's a question that I've kind of wondered throughout my betting career over the last 5 years. I look at Kyle Gibson and I wonder to myself, when has this guy ever been good? I mean, how does he continue to get starts in the major leagues? I
That
mean,
is, that is a good question. He definitely has peripherals that are questionable, and I mean, a lot of times teams don't necessarily have huge options to bring up to the majors, and a lot of times they don't want to bring up a guy to the majors too soon. There's that whole theory about how you want to bring guys along at their own pace. So sometimes guys such as Kyle Gibson or Bronson Arroyo or Bartolo Colon can stick in the majors longer than it seems like they should on paper. I mean, answer to your question, when has he been good? I don't think he's ever been good, but he's definitely been serviceable. I mean, last year was a step down from 2 years ago. But I mean, a couple of years ago, he was okay. He always got he always had okay strikeout numbers and didn't have terrible home run numbers. Then last year,
Peter, aren't these numbers that he should have towards the end of his career? I mean, in 5 years, his ERA is almost 5. He's had 1 year. Yeah. He's had 1 year with an ERA under 4. His career batting average against is 277. His whip is high. He's given up a lot of home runs. It's just, for me, it's like a guy that was drafted in the first round, 22nd overall. I mean, what a failure of a career. I mean,
look, look what happened to Rich Hill. I mean, look, all kinds of pitchers have career resurgence at any given time, but he is only, he's less than 1.5 years away from being, a close to mid-range major league starter, a legit close to mid-range major league starter. And then how old is he? I don't think he's even 30. He's about 30, I would assume. And so if you got, a 30-year-old starting pitcher who's, a year and a half or less than a year and a half removed from being, a decent mid-range starter, sometimes they don't want to pull the plug. Last year was a huge step down, and this year so far has been even a bigger step down from last year. So yeah, I mean, he's looking terrible right now, and I would definitely be looking to fade him. I'm on Minnesota on the second half tonight, but I was expecting Gibson to get hit a little bit tonight. But there's who knows why they're handling him the way they're handling him. But if you're asking, has he ever been good? Yeah, a year and a half ago he was okay.
I think he fucking sucks. 29 years old, by the way, he is.
Okay.
Diamondbacks, Marlins, Peter, and Patrick Corbin continues to struggle on the road. He's had major problems this year away from home. Urena, he wasn't very good either. Neither starter went particularly deep. 4 1/3 for Urena, 5 for Patrick Corbin. A long bullpen game for the Marlins, and this was an easy over. I actually played this over in the contest as well. Fish scored some runs tonight, and the Diamondbacks, look, they're not going to win every game, but this team has been a great bet all year. If you've been betting on the Diamondbacks, which I have at home, on the road, I don't really like them. But did you have anything in this game, Peter?
Well, I had Miami -1.5 in the contest for sure, and my low hanging fruit of the day was Miami team total over 4, which pushed in the first inning and wound up cashing by the 4th. So I was all in the morning show. I just said, I expected Corbin to get hit, and that is exactly what happened. Tomorrow though, it's Edinson Volquez Day for Miami. So and Delgado has been decent since they put him into the starting rotation. So I'm looking at an Arizona team total over tomorrow at least, and maybe also a shot with the over, maybe a shot with Arizona. We'll see, but definitely Arizona team total over tomorrow is something that I'm going to be looking almost definitely going to be pulling the trigger on as soon as that line comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, you hate Edinson Volquez, don't you?
I don't hate him. I just see value where I'm looking at the trees. I'm looking for the fruit, and if I think I see fruit and it's low enough for me to pick it, I'll reach out for it.
I hear that. Cody from Sports Psychics, Peter Loshak in the house, meaning the mustache in the house as well. Thank you, Cody. We appreciate you listening. Big man, do you cap any MLS? Yes, unfortunately I do, and I lost the other night in the 86th fucking minute with the New York fucking City FC. So yes, I do. Once all the big leagues are over, I do. But we got Champions League tomorrow, which we'll talk about on tomorrow's show. But Peter, tough night so far for Jake Odorizzi. Top or bottom one, bases loaded, 1 out. He just struck out Nelson Cruz. So can he wiggle out of this is a big question. But Christian Bergman's been an odd character. He's pitched very well in 2 games, and he's pitched very bad in 1 game. What Bergman's going to show tonight?
I think overall Bergman is a guy who I'm willing to bet on good results with. This game I actually I hope that Odorizzi does get out of this one, at least with not that much damage, because I did take a shot with the under at 9 here, and of course two big bats are out for oh no, Nelson Cruz is in there actually. Oh, okay, but Segura's out, and I took a shot with the under here. Odorizzi is a guy who definitely has been coming back down to earth recently. Oh, the Dodgers just tied it up, so maybe I'm not looking that smart after all. Odorizzi, I think is probably going to be good enough here to give the under a nice shot. But I'm definitely thinking about fading Odorizzi going forward. We'll see what the matchups are and what the lines are. But I took a shot with the under here, and I think Bergman, at least for now, is a guy who I wouldn't, I'm okay with. Of course, he pitched, for Colorado for a bunch of years, so he might get a big boost now, coming over to Seattle. And he's been okay so far. He might be serviceable for quite a while this year. That's what I'm looking for from him.
This is one of the brutal things about baseball. Jimmy Nelson goes 8 innings tonight. Corey Nebel comes in, a 1.37 ERA, gets Corey Seager, but then serves up a home run to Yasmani Grandal. It's tied just like that. So we might be seeing extras here in this one. Peter, let's kind of move over a little bit and talk a little bit about the NBA Finals, which last night, I think more or less, people were more interested in what was going on off the court than what was going on the court. I mean, I heard more about Rihanna than I heard about the actual game, it seemed like. But as far as the game's concerned, wasn't really that entertaining. Warriors obviously rolled to an easy victory. I actually made a bet. Joe Duffy, I talked to him about it, and I was kind of sick to my stomach that it lost just because, it would have been kind of fun to root it in the whole time. But I took Cleveland will never lead at all in any game in the series at 70-1. And by God, I wish for some reason the Warriors would have hit some layups last night, because I probably would be one game in and they wouldn't have had a lead at all. It would have been fun to root it in. That's all I'm saying. But overall, I think the big question, and I want to shout out a couple of listeners. Tho Marino's mentioned this. A couple others have mentioned this. The big question is, and why I think, as I'm watching last night, I don't know that it's going to be a particularly long series. Who is going to guard Kevin Durant? Because it doesn't seem like anyone is going to have an answer for him. Who's going to guard Kevin Durant is the big question. Do you know who's going to guard him, Peter? Because I don't.
No, anyone, and certainly, on paper, it looked like Cleveland definitely would not have enough answers defensively for Golden State. I think I'm probably going to hold off on betting Game 2 just because, not exactly sure how things are going to turn out as far as the refs are concerned. I'm not sure that the NBA is going to want another big blowout here, even though that did happen last year. I did take Golden State on the first half in Game 1, and that one cashed. Of course, I made a big bet just on Golden State to win the series at -255, which I think is looking pretty safe right now, because even if the Cavs do steal a game or two, or the refs decide to make sure that the Cavs get a game or two, I think that at -255, Golden State just to win the series any which way is looking now like a great bet. And there was a lot of advanced analytics that hinted at that. The other thing that a lot of the advanced analytics admitted, though, was that they had a hard time. They were historically bad at predicting Cleveland's performance in the playoffs. A lot of advanced analytics, because they base a lot of what they do on regular season numbers and regular season stats, underestimated severely how good the Cavs are able to, the next level that the Cavs are able to raise their play to when the chips are down, when the playoffs start. And so that was sort of a caveat that all the advanced numbers guys that I follow had with their analysis. But aside from that caveat, they were like, Golden State should be a way bigger favorite than what the market's giving them credit for. And so yeah, it's certainly looking that way as of right now, and I don't think Cleveland's going to have an answer for Golden State defensively at all. It was definitely their liability during the regular season, and even though they will be able to step it up at least a little bit here in the playoffs, covering Golden State is just, you're going to need an elite defensive team to do that, and that's definitely not what the Cavs are.
No, exactly. I actually I made a bet, and I was surprised no one else mentioned it on, and maybe I don't know if you even saw it, Peter, but there was a prop that you could make. Cleveland will never lead in the series, and Golden State will win the series and never go down in the series at -140, which I thought was a cracker of a bet. I mean, after last night's win, I really can't see losing the series at all at this point. They're not going to go down 2-1. They're not going to go. If it was going to happen, it would happen in game one. But line open 8, it's up to 9. Obviously, plenty of money coming in on the Warriors. Peter, I think obviously we both aren't huge NBA bettors. I know you do. You like it. I love it as well. I kind of pick spots in the NBA, but I've had a pretty good run with these plays in the NBA. I got to be honest, I will maybe look at Cleveland maybe covering if this can get up to maybe double digits. I do think we see a much closer game, like you said, especially with – I think at some point the NBA is going to get their hands in one of these games and make it close.
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland's going to win a game or two. And if they're going to win, I think it would be a bounce back here in game 2. But it is a great atmosphere at Oracle. I really, when the Warriors get going, how many 10-0 runs did they have last night? It seemed like they had 3 or 4. And think about, Peter, if they would have hit some of their layups early on. They hit a lot of they missed a lot of bunny jump shots and layups. They could have been up 30 in the first half, it seemed like. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, they're such a good offense. Cleveland does have those issues on defense, and Cleveland's going to need more people stepping up. Tristan Thompson, he finds out he got Khloe Kardashian pregnant, and look, Peter, all of a sudden, he doesn't show up last night. What a surprise. Yeah. I'm telling you, these women are they're not good. They're not good for you.
Amazing. To rehash some of the things we've said, there have definitely been studies that have shown that not to get all MGTOW on you for all of a sudden, but you know what MGTOW is? You know what MGTOW is, Jeff, from BMOCwins.com?
Some kind of Chinese scientific thing.
All right, but not to get all MGTOW on you, but there have been studies that shown that men just get dumber in the presence of attractive women, and of course there was a famous Harvard analytics study that Zach Jones, our director of marketing at SBR, circulated around the office. Very interesting study that Harvard Analytics did, proving that when players start to date a high-profile celebrity, their performance takes a significant and measurable step down, and then when they break up with a celebrity, a high-profile celebrity, and Harvard has their way of defining what that is, their performance takes a clear and measurable and statistically significant step up. So that is not in your mind. Women will mess with your head, mess with your body, mess with your life, mess with your overall demeanor and performance and psychology. And you got to be very careful when you're messing around with women.
I just want to explain this one more time. Reggie Bush, Chris Humphries. Who else was there? Lamar Odom, Rashad McCants.
Mm-hmm.
Now Tristan Thompson. I don't know if he'll end up being as bad as them, but it's real. It is real.
It is absolutely real, especially if it's high profile and especially if it's, something that's attracting a lot of media attention, even if it's not, though, because these guys, it's their personal lives. You know what I mean? So anytime, I'm reading about, look what happened with Matt Harvey, right? That whole thing was supposedly, kicked off by Adriana Lima, right?
Right.
She broke up with him, and all of a sudden, he's just in a tailspin. All of a sudden, he can't throw strikes. It's very Bull Durham-esque. Everything. That's what professional sports and college sports. College sports probably even more so. Because there's just kids who can't handle anything emotionally.
Right. And that's why someone said Anthony Rizzo got married today or something. And I said to myself, well, who was it? I was thinking to myself, who was it to? And then I saw it was just some civilian, and I thought, okay, well, that won't matter. It's all about famous people like Justin Verlander. He's done okay with it with Kate Upton, but if they ever break up, look at Tiger Woods. He's another example. Ever since that fiasco with his wife, he's been a complete nut job lately. It's again. Let me ask you quick, Peter, before we go. I want to ask you because we were talking about this the other day, Donnie and I. I take Adderall every morning. I have ADHD.
You do?
Yeah. And
how do you get it? Do you get it? You have a prescription?
Yeah, I'm prescribed it by a doctor.
I want to get that shit. I'm going to go to the dark web, baby, and I'm going to fucking get that shit, man.
I want to firstly tell you how it is really difficult to get this medication. I can't get it until 30 days are up. I have to go to the doctor every 30 days and get him to write the script out. It's really tough. But so
blah, blah, blah. Big man, on the dark web, you can get
I know. I hear you.
Anything you want.
But I told Donnie Rightside, I told him that one time when I didn't know, I took NyQuil at night, and I woke up the next day. I take my Adderall, and I'm like all over the fucking place. I can't do anything. I'm high as a fucking kite. It was amazing. And I thought to myself, well, maybe that was what happened to Tiger. Maybe he took his oxycodone or whatever it was. He took something else and counteracted. Because I got to tell you, I acted really like the same way he did. But then again, then Donnie said to me, well, he's had 4 back surgeries. I think you would know if it was counteracting. But what do you think about that? Do you think it was just
about what? About Tiger Woods, or about taking all kinds of drugs all at the same time?
Well, maybe I'm thinking like maybe he didn't know that it would counteract the way it did.
Very possibly. I mean, as I said, I'm all about betting. Like if I was betting golf regularly, I mean, even if he's not even playing anymore. So it's like, I followed the Matt Harvey story because I knew that I was going to be betting on or against him. The Tiger Woods story, I haven't really been following. I mean, I know they said he was caught with a DUI, and what is he claiming that he was on something else besides?
Well, he didn't drink at all. He blew a 0. He got caught for driving under the influence of drugs, and he did.
Oh, okay.
They gave him sobriety tests, and he was high as a kite. And he said that he had gotten back surgery, and he said that he took a medication with the back medicine that counteracted and made him high.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a ton of even eating a grapefruit before you take certain drugs can mess everything up. And these doctors don't give a shit.
That's what I was saying. Like I was.
They don't give it. They're just like whatever the hell you like. That's what Michael Jackson's doctor did. Michael Jackson's doctor was like, "Here, take this, take that." I don't give a shit. Yeah, you might die. I don't give a shit. None of these doctors give a shit. So yeah, it's very possible. I believe Tiger Woods there.
And that's what I said. And Donnie was like, no fucking way, no fucking way. By the way, Peter, Seattle hits a grand slam, 5-0, Seattle
and
Mariners.
Not only that, a grand slam with 2 outs.
Yes,
so
good point.
He gets bases loaded with no outs and gets 2 outs and then gives up a grand slam. So classic.
Very tough first inning. I mean, Ben Gamel single, Guillermo Heredia an error, Cano walk. I mean, another walk for Valencia. Then he gives up a grand slam. Tough first inning for Jake Orizzi. Peter, anything else tonight before we head off into the sunset of Friday night?
No, not really. I mean, you want me to just quickly touch on some of the games tomorrow?
True. Yes, let's chat about that. What do you got?
Let's just quickly go down this. Colorado, San Diego with Chatwood against Chassin. That's an interesting one because Chassin has been horrific on the road and awesome, lights out at home. I think this might be a spot where he gets hit a little bit. So I'm leaning over on that one, and I'm also at the small line. I mean, Colorado against San Diego. I know San Diego just swept the Cubs. Colorado's struggled a little bit over the past 2 weeks, but I'm on Colorado tonight. I'm probably going to be on Colorado tomorrow with Chatwood against Chassin. Again, I told you I think I'm going to be on the over 8.5 in Dodgers Milwaukee, and a small shot with Milwaukee as a home dog tomorrow as well. And definitely going to be on Arizona team total over fading Edinson Volquez. Once again, I'm leaning over 8.5 in the Boston-Baltimore game and leaning Baltimore just as a home dog. Again, don't think they should be one. And then tomorrow, Houston against Texas, even though Houston's a big favorite, probably going to be on Houston -1. I'm already on that one, actually. And I'm almost certainly going to be on the Houston team total over to hit Cashner. And I guess that's about it. One interesting game will be Santana against Shoemaker, Minnesota against the Angels. We'll see if Santana can have, once again, another excellent start. He's basically had, I think, 2 bad starts this year, but every other start has been, either lights out or near lights out. So very impressive what Santana's done. And on the road at the Angels, he could easily, it's a relatively easy assignment with no Mike Trout. So he might have another good start there. And I guess
if Minnesota wins tonight, 16-5 on the road. Coming in tomorrow. So, yeah, I mean, looks interesting. Late game. Not a lot of late night games on Saturday night usually. Most of the games usually 8 o'clock or later or earlier, but 2 10 o'clock games tomorrow, which is always kind of nice. So, yeah, a big card tomorrow. We'll go over Donnie right side night on the right side of campus tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. We'll also discuss a little bit on the Champions League final, which goes tomorrow as well. If you want an early breakdown, I did do a video on Memorial Day with Natalie and all those guys over on that channel. So, Peter, I want to thank you. As always, you're always a good fill-in for Donnie Wrightside. Obviously, you're the face of SBR. Any last words before we go tonight?
No, not really. Just can I touch quickly on UFC 212?
Oh, yes, UFC 212 tomorrow. Let's do that.
Well, we gave Jose Aldo. I previewed it with Andreas Hale. We both said, why is Jose Aldo -105? We previewed it. That's what it was. I bet it. It's now all the way up to -145. I think even 150. So some money has come in on
moving the line, Peter. Moving the line. Motherfuckers don't know about Jose Aldo. They forgot about him. They're sleeping on him.
Yeah, I just don't understand why the line was where it was a few days ago. Now it makes a lot more sense. We'll see where it closes, but yeah, in the video I gave, I previewed with Andreas Hale. I gave a pick on all 5 of the fights on the main card. I took both of the big underdogs. Took Andreas Hale. Took Vitor Belfort to get to lose his UFC final fight, and then I also took Medeiros against the deflated Eric Silva. Even though that line moved, I wanted to give it at -120, but by the time the video came out, it was already -150. But I gave Medeiros at -150. But those are my 5 picks: Jose Aldo, Yancy Medeiros, both of the big underdogs, and Marquardt over Vitor Belfort. Vitor Belfort, I just think doesn't have it, and shouldn't be a favorite tomorrow. So that's my UFC main card preview in 2 minutes.
So let me ask you, Peter. I'm not a big UFC guy. I do more boxing, but so Karolina Kowalczyk, yeah, right. She fought Joanna Jędrzejczyk before, and she's a big underdog tomorrow. No shot for her.
Oh yeah, no, that she's one of the underdogs that I took, and people forget that.
You did take her.
Now Joanna's like the vicious champion and this and that. And I remember when Joanna first came around, when she started, she was a big underdog. You know, her first few fights. And when I first started handicapping her first high profile fights, before I even started researching her fight history, I just saw her stare down. You know, she looked like I said, she looked like a combination of us. She looked like someone with like the physique of a superhero and the mentality of a crackhead, like a crackhead on the streets of Vancouver with like the physique of a superhero. And she had that sick stare down where she like ducked her head underneath the other. And I was like, man, I know this chick is a big underdog here, but I am not betting against her until further notice. There's no way in hell I'm betting against this chick. And of course now, you know, she's like undefeated. And I mean, everyone's like, oh, she can't be beaten. She's a vicious, you know, fighter and all that stuff. But when she started out, she was a big underdog. And a lot of times in MMA, especially in women's MMA, you know, the market is a little bit slow to recognize which female fighters are going to be very competitive. For everything that I see, I mean, Claudia Gadelha is great. But I think Kowalkiewicz is right close to her in terms of skill. I think Kowalkiewicz has better cardio, which could come into play later on. So I took Kowalkiewicz at that big of an underdog. You know, maybe she should be only plus 150. But at 250, I took her. That's a definite pick and a bet for me.
Yeah, if I can just mention one thing, I probably won't get much time tomorrow to mention it, but boxing tomorrow, Andrew Fonfara fights Adonis Stevenson in a rematch. They fought a couple years ago, light heavyweight. Fonfara is not a great fighter. Stevenson was actually knocked down by Fonfara in the first fight. Stevenson did end up winning that fight, but Emmanuel Stewart, the late Emmanuel Stewart, was Stevenson's coach. They always had talked about knockouts and knockout sell, and I think Adonis Stevenson is going to be a little bit more ready to go in this fight. Obviously, I think he might have took Andrew Fonfara a little bit soft the first fight. I think he comes out here and knocks Andrew Fonfara out. Stevenson's a good young fighter, a guy that should be able to dominate him this time around. It was a little bit too close to call in the first fight. Stevenson did end up prevailing by points, but I think this one ends a little bit earlier. So if you can find a knockout prop on Adonis Stevenson, I do think you have a good bet there. There's been some good fights lately. Obviously, we have some coming up as well. Andre Ward, Kovalev, and some others. So obviously, Peter, very vice in UFC, take some of his great stuff. Look out the video he did with the great Andreas Hale on SBR. Other than that, guys, we're going to go for tonight. I got to go get a haircut here in about a half an hour. So I got to jump off. Peter, as always, thanks for joining me. I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon. And follow Peter on Twitter so you can see all his plays tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'll be back tomorrow.
One of them, you already know. It's Edinson Volquez Day. You already know it. Arizona team total over. Definitely going to be one play tomorrow.
Well, yeah, he hates Volquez, so make sure you get on that one. But I'm the big man of campus. He's Peter Loshak. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you, Peter, on Monday. Have a good weekend.